Welcome back to Diener's Diner. Today we're making a nice green salad with flavor galore. It's going to excite your senses. We're going to toast up about 1/4 cup of sesame seeds. I've got about 1/2 cup of walnuts. We'll get those toasted. We're going to add in 1½ teaspoons of extra virgin olive oil and about 1/2 teaspoon of salt. We're going to divide that though. Then we've got 1/4 cup of plain Greek yogurt, 2 tablespoons of tahini, a tablespoon of water, 1½ teaspoons of apple cider vinegar, a teaspoon of lemon juice, whether it's fresh squeezed or a bottle. I've got some bunch of collard greens. We're going to use collard greens because that's what I have. We are going to steam those, and I'll show you how to do that a little bit later. And I've got a nice red ripe pear. You want it to be ripe. 1/2 cup of dried cranberries, and an onion, and it was about that big, so just a small onion. We've got a package of mint, so I went and took the leaves off, so that's about 1 cup of mint, and 1/2 cup of feta, crumbled feta cheese. Okay, we're going to put our seeds on, or nuts on the pan here. I've got some parchment paper on a tin pan, and since I don't want to heat up the whole oven, I'm just going to put these in the toaster oven for approximately 10 minutes. I'll keep an eye on that. And we just want to stir these up once and get them nice and toasted. All right, the sesame seeds have been toasted, and the walnuts, we're just going to put them in a dish. And then we're going to add about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And you can use kosher salt, you can use Himalayan salt. I've got some Celtic salt that's rather coarse, so we're just going to add that in. But let's see here. We've got 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then I'm going to add in 1½ teaspoons of extra virgin olive oil, and we're just going to stir that up, and we're going to set it aside, and we're going to let that cool for about 10 minutes, and then we will begin with the dressing part. Get that all nice and mixed. Coat it nice. All right, we'll just set that aside. All right, let's prepare that dressing. We're going to take that other 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and we're just going to put that in the bowl. And we're going to add our 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt. This is plain Greek yogurt. And tahini. Do you know what tahini is? Tahini is just sesame seeds that are ground up basically like peanut butter. We've got 2 tablespoons that I've already measured out. We're just going to put that in. And then we're going to add 1 tablespoon of water. I've already measured out 1 tablespoon, but for the video purpose, we will do it. Okay, then we're going to add 1½ teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. Shake that up good. Whatever you have, go ahead and use it. 1½ teaspoons. 1½ Oop. Yeah, that's probably not. As you can see, I spilled that in there. All right, and then we've got some lemon juice. We want 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. And that is going to be our dressing. We're going to get that all mixed up. And then we're going to go on to steaming the collard greens. You could do kale, but since I have collard greens, that's what we're going to use. And we're just going to set that aside. You can make up the dressing ahead and store it in the fridge for a day. You could also toast the nuts and store that ahead of time and keep that out of the refrigerator. All right, I'm just going to remove the center stem of the collard greens. And if you've ever made things with kale before, you basically do the same. You want to keep the leaves. And then I will show you how we're going to steam them. I have destemmed the collard greens. I'm just going to tear these up. Be sure to wash them a little bit. Wash them off good when you get them. We're just going to tear them up random like this. I've got my water steaming with my steamer basket in there, and we're going to add this tore up to the steamer, and we're just going to steam them for a short while. Never made this salad before, so we'll see what comes up. All right, we've got it in the steamer basket, and we're just going to let that steam for a little bit. I will check it periodically. I don't want it to get too soft, but just tender enough, but with a little bit of crunch left. All right, the kale was only in there just a few minutes, maybe 3, and you can see it's totally wilty. I did have my water boiling in the steamer before I started, so I think that may have helped. So you just want to keep an eye on it. You don't want to get too wilty, but you can see how nice and green that is. I'm just going to drain the water into here, and we're going to use that extra water to water my plants. All right, I've removed the kale. It's still hot, so I'm going to let that cool off in this strainer here, and I'm going to get busy cutting the pear into slices. Remember, you want a ripe pear, and you can see that some of this pear is bruised, but we're just going to cut that out. It doesn't matter. And then I'm going to thinly slice this into slices like that. And you can see there's little waste to this pear. We're just going to slice this up a bit. Just put it in some bite-sized pieces. And as soon as our kale is prepared, cooled off, we're going to add it to the dressing that we made prior. Just going to get this dressing whipped up a bit. And since my collards are a little thick or a little big, I'm just going to cut them into bite-sized pieces, and I'm going to add those in. I'm going to add the pear, the cranberry, the onion, and half the mint, and we'll go from there. Get those added. And we're only adding half of the mint leaves. When we serve this, we will top it with the rest of the mint leaves, with the feta, and with the nuts. And if you've never had feta cheese that comes in the brine, it's kind of intimidating, but don't be intimidated. You can see this has been used quite often. You're just going to break off pieces. And that's how you do it. It's rather simple. And we're just going to get that all incorporated. Ooh, it's coming together rather nice. Lots of flavor in this salad with all the cranberries, the onion, the pear, the mint. Oh, the mint is so refreshing. And the nut for a crunch. We'll get this served up here. Add some feta. Few mint leaves. And some of our toasted seeds and nuts. That mint. Very, very fragrant. Let's have a taste. The cheese and the nuts and the mint and the cranberries, everything just commingles. It's very different, very flavorful. It's really rather alien, and I like it. Do I have them upside down?